Forecast from meteorologist Amber Wheeler.
Well, we start off the new work week with more heat and very dry conditions. We are likely to see above normal temperatures all week and even into the next weekend. The humidity will start to return by late week, and we don't have a lot of rain chances in this forecast. So here's your upper level pattern. It's very telling with what you have going down on the surface. We've got this ridge of high pressure that is built well up into the Great Lakes, a trough off towards our east and a trough into the west. This pattern is very slow to move. All of these features really work together to move incredibly slow, if not almost a blocking pattern. This is why we've had a repeat of forecasts for the last several days and why it's going to be repeating over the next several days. And we call it an omega block, and it's just named after the Greek letter that it resembles. This will eventually loosen up over the next few days, but it's just going to keep us pretty hot, and it invites a lot of heat. These were the highs today. You can see some heat, a lot of 80s there made their way up towards the Minneapolis area, even Green Bay. Of course, we get in on the heat here along the Gulf with those low 90s. And more of the same for tomorrow. 93 is the forecast high for tomorrow. We are hot and dry, and we're going to stay that way all week. The saving grace for you here is that we don't have really high dew points heading into the afternoons. You always get the drop in dew points at the hottest part of the day, and that's what we're going to see for tomorrow. Dew points fall to the 60s, which means it won't be as humid as it could be. And you can see over the next few days, the humidity will start to rise a little bit. Remember, for the summer months, we've been up into that sticky territory. We're not there, so this isn't going to be a real summer-like sticky feel, but you'll feel a little difference in the humidity. And of course, the heat is sticking around. We've got a lot of temperatures wobbling between 93, 94. As we get deeper into fall or deeper into September, it's hard to sustain these, but just know that the pattern that we're under is going to keep us hotter than normal. Average right now 89, so we'll be in those mid 90s for several days. And this is why. This is your pattern. We've got this upper level low off towards our northeast, and we're going to stay in between a lot of these features here. Now the pattern is going to loosen up a little bit. That omega block I was telling you about. We'll get this trough that digs into the north at some point next weekend, and it could start to give a weakness in the atmosphere, maybe giving us a chance for some rain. I still think we're going to stay pretty dry, and we're going to stay hot. All that cool air stays well far to the north, and you can see what that means for the next 5 days of rain potential. Outside of a few sprinkles, this is a really dry forecast for us. So we are not getting any rain from Mother Nature for our lawns or for our gardens. You'll have to do that yourself. Now, comparing this year with last year is a pretty big difference. So last year on this day, we had 70.22 inches worth of rain. And remember, we had just come out of Hurricane Francine, where a lot of us saw anywhere between 8 and 12 inches. This year, we've seen about 48.93. That is right there at that average of about 48 3/4. So we're really on par with the numbers. But because it's been so long since we've seen some meaningful moisture, we have now seen a little bit of a drought for parts of southeast Louisiana and coastal Mississippi. So we certainly could use some rain. But if we're going to have dry times, this is the time of year that we typically would see this. Certainly we'll try to get some rain over the next few weeks, but I don't see a lot in sight. None this week and not a lot into the next week. Now, we're not really tracking anything in the tropics here that's close to home. The Gulf is very quiet. The Caribbean, very quiet for us right now. We, of course, have this area of showers and storms that we've been following that might get a little more organized over the next few days. The National Hurricane Center giving this a high chance of development, a 70% chance of development this week. This could certainly turn into our next named storm. You can see all the organization it tries to do in the coming days. A lot of guidance keeps this out over the Atlantic. But if I'm in the Northeast Caribbean or in the Bermuda area here, I would be following the storm pretty closely. If it does develop, it would be Gabrielle, and it's moving over some very warm water. You can see the entire basin is above average right now, most of it anyways. That's Hurricane Aaron's wake, so the water hasn't really warmed to above average anymore from that area. But something I wanted to divert your attention to is in the Pacific. The equator is cooling down, the equator water there. And what that does is it sends us into a La Nina, and La Nina means we could start seeing a bit more of a conducive atmosphere for tropical development. It's not a likelihood here, but if you hear that we're heading into a La Nina in the coming weeks, don't be surprised. We're probably going to see that at least heading into fall and into maybe even winter this year. Here's your forecast for the next week. Low to mid 90s. It's just going to be a hot one, kind of a repeat forecast each day. The differences will be a little bit of the humidity, and maybe the directions of the wind. So not a lot of drama in this forecast, which in the middle of September, to be honest, it's not a bad problem to have.
And as long as those tropics
Stays quiet, that would be nice.
Yes.
We're in a drought, tropics wise. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, me too. We'll deal with the no rain
Yes.
for that. All right. Thank you so much.